Welcome to Tiny Rails, the fun little game with a train. And it's been 3 or 4 days since I last recorded an episode. That's my current train going past, which if you saw any of the previous episodes will notice has been reconfigured, which I will explain shortly. But as I say, it's been 3 or 4 episodes since I last 3 or 4 days since I last recorded an episode, because I've been busy with this game trying to make some progress in various areas, and it hasn't been conducive to continuing with the story while I was doing that. So now my train should be coming into Galway. It is. And I'll just quickly visit the market as that little biplane flies overhead. Pick up some watermelons. Okay. So the next place I'm going is Belfast, which continues the story. However, I will explain what I've been doing. I spent a lot of time in Oceania fulfilling cargo requests for a lot of places. For example, Pago, which wanted 1,000 of, I can't remember what they're called, those berries, pumpkins for Matatu. I think they're called jackfruit. 1,000 of those. 1,000 cashew nuts. Port Moresby was 1,000, whatever they are. Down in, I think it was Canberra, was 1,000 of these. And when you're doing 1,000 resources at a time, it takes a little time to do that, as well as all the other resources that were around, which I completed in various other places. There are still a couple outstanding down here, but not very many. There's one that's outstanding. Perth, don't want some chickens, for example. Oh, and that's cinnamon. I do remember that. And those green things are limes, which I also fulfilled the 1,000 that wanted in Wellington. In addition to that, I was playing around in China, where they have requests for things like 1,000 sausages, and I've got to 900, or 350 of these. I got to 300. Again, a load more pumpkins. I fulfilled a lot of the requests for those. I also finished the request for the Asia East factory and the Asia North factory for a couple more cars to add to my train, as well as building a load of stations and fulfilling a load of cargo requests down in Africa Central, and fulfilling the Middle East Lower area requirements. So that's what I've been doing. Oh, I've also fulfilled most of the outstanding requests in Alaska, Canada, United States and Mexico. I think I've got 3 cities to finish in Mexico, one in the United States, which I believe is Houston, which wants poutine, which you can only find in Canada East, and I think it's Ottawa. Nope, it's not Ottawa. Is it Montreal? Montreal, which wants fireworks, which I can only find in USA Central. So I've been doing a lot of circuits of those. I also tried to collect a bit more lumber, which I then used to build stations in Africa. Fulfilled a load of stuff in Alaska, and also fulfilled that Alaska factory request so I could get another different carriage. Along the way, I have all the duplicate cars I had that were level 1. I added to my train and got them all up to level 3 and then took them off my train, and I've reconfigured my train. I'll start at the back. That's just a caboose, I'll explain in a second. The camel car is now level 3, or camel stable, and because it holds 23 cargo in total, 18 basically and a plus 5 cargo, that's one of my more productive, or my largest cargo cars. So that's staying. I got this crane car up to level 3, which contains 13 cargo, plus another 10 cargo, which makes it the same size as the camel stable. The Apple car was already on this train. It also fulfills 23 cargo. They are the largest capacity cars that I've got. Next to them is the Thunder car, which is now level 3 and has 20 cargo in it. As well as these 4 oil tankers also carry 20 cargo apiece. These flat freighters, which were on the train, have moved forward slightly because they only carry 19 cargo, so I'm doing it in cargo capacity size from back to front. Next to them, a couple of luxury cargo cars, which also carry, well, they carry 14 and plus 5 cargo, so 19 cargo apiece. Then I have the toilets, or the modern outhouse. 2 double-decker passenger cars, because they have the largest passenger capacity. I have 18 apiece. There are 3 cars which are, as far as I'm concerned, interchangeable at the front. A luxury cargo car and 2 coal cars. They carry 18 cargo and the luxury cargo car carries 19. So that's basically the smallest of my cargo cars. And the engine on the front I picked up in Oceania West, which has a plus 20 speed in Oceania West. But the nice thing about this engine and caboose is this Sydney Opera House styling on the top changes colour at night from light blue to white to pink, or reddish pink. So that's why it was on my train for a while, and it will be on there for at least part of this episode. So for right now, I'm going to Belfast, that is already marked, where I will complete the next part of the Oceania quest, which I don't know what they're going to say and where they're going to send me after that. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing after that, but I do have 1 or 2 things which I also need to cover and explain. My top speed is currently 325 miles an hour. I think it's 341 in Oceania West. I did at one point have 22 million in cash from all the jobs I'd completed, all the cargo deliveries, etc. But I spent it all upgrading or buying stations or constructing stations. So if I actually go to the book, the North America is now 97% complete. Alaska's 85%, Europe's 83%, Russia's 89%, and Asia's 74%. So they've all gone up in completion. And while I'm here, I'll just collect the money for these couple of jobs I've completed. And I'll just get some more jobs just to add to the list. That one. I need 2 more jobs. Alright, we'll take that one. And that one. Right. So now let's see what the quest says. Nika, good work. I see you got all the items to build the cage. Oh yes, we're building a prison car of some type, or a prison cage, to transport Blackwood, who was one of my early rivals in this game, from Russia, where he's being held, to Oceania, apparently. Sophia, the only problem is we're not qualified to weld this stuff. What do you mean? I'm not certified to work with Magnum. I've been meaning to take the course, but we've been so busy. Hank, I can't do it either, but I do know a guy in Russia that can manage it. My pal Dmitri is Magnum certified. Is Magnum certified welder? Shouldn't that be a Magnum certified welder? And I'm sure he'd be happy to help us. There's no time to lose then. Let's get to Russia. Okay, looks like I'm going to Russia. Alrighty, well, I'll click on the right map, collect the reward for stopping at Belfast, and now I've got to go to Norilsk in Russia, which I've got no idea whereabouts in Russia that is, so I'll see if I can find it on the map. All the way up there. That's a bit of a trek. So I'm definitely going to make it in this episode. However, might as well get started. The reason I'm keeping the engine on the train for the part of this episode is so you can see the pretty colours it goes to when the sun goes down. Oh, I am going the right way, aren't I? Oh, I need to zoom in a bit. Okay, because I need to go through London so I can drop off some of the cargo I'm currently carrying. And I'm clearing an obstruction from the track. Oh good, some of that was tea, which is what I want to drop off in London. I might as well collect the money from the jobs I've just completed. Or the one job I've just completed. And replace it with another one. That one will do. As I say, I have did have 22 million. I was trying to upgrade as many stations in North America as possible with most of it, as they all cost 1 million or so a piece. The 22 million didn't last too long. I don't want any of that cargo. It's in Edinburgh. So off we continue towards London. My train currently carries 411 cargo. That'll change in a minute when I change some of the cars. I can carry 107 passengers currently. I've got plenty of weight to spare, and it's not that attractive a train for passengers, but there again, I don't make most of my money off the passengers. I make it off the jobs and some of the money off the cargo that I transport. But most of this game is pretty much about transporting cargo and fulfilling cargo requirements. So that's why I have so many cargo cars to help me with that. However, I've got a little bit of time before I go to London. So these 3 cars at the front are replaceable, as far as I'm concerned. So what I'm going to do is find some of those unique cars that I built in the factories where I fulfilled the cargo requests, which are all level 1 currently because I haven't used them yet. And here's one. The Elven Archery car, which makes money, does cargo and passengers. That can go right there. That's a big car. Next to that is a Rusty Traveller. That can go there. And I have right here the Frontier Passenger. So we'll shove that one there. That's cut down my cargo capacity down to 362 and up my passenger capacity to 120. And they're all going to take 2,500 experience points to get to level 2. So plus 10 comfort when equipped in Oceania. Well, I'm not in Oceania. That one has no bonuses, and this one open 24 hours. That's nice, and plus 5 entertainment when equipped in Oceania. Again, I'm not in Oceania. And here I come into London. Not worried about the jobs I complete, and see what I mean about the colour changes? Just change from white to blue. Is it going to change colour again? Yep. Here it goes. Changing colour quite happily. That's why I kept it on the train. I will take the 27 watermelons. I have a use for those, and I'll drop off the tea that I'm carrying. So I need another 226 tea just for London. So if I run into some tea in any of the stations I visit, I will pick it up. As we're now off to good old Amsterdam. That's a bit of a distance, but 3 new cars, and no, I'm not worried about that. The other thing I did, which I did mention, was I completed this area. I'm also working on, well, that's Africa East, that's already complete, Africa Centre, which requires me to spend a lot of time travelling around it and visit 13 more stations I haven't already visited to open up Africa South. However, Middle East Lower gives me 50,000. An area of Southeast Asia West will open up. I'll get a new factory and a new port. And a strange looking train engine and caboose. So I'm going to do that. So that has now opened up. I can find it. That's this area here. Southeast Asia West. Now I've got a Southeast Asia port, a depot that I'll have to buy, which will cost me 3 million. So I will buy that depot. And there's a factory which I need to complete the checklist for before it will allow me into that one. But I think I've now just opened up that factory, which I don't know what that resource is. I haven't seen it yet. But I do have a load of copper, iron, steel and wood in my depot, the closest one being the Middle East Upper Depot, which I can then take out of there, take to this factory, and that will open up a load of space in one of my depot. Again, I have no idea where I find this resource. I'm sure I'll figure it out at some point. For right now, we're in Amsterdam. Sausages I need for a place in China. I don't need any of the rest right now. In fact, if I look at what I'm currently carrying, watermelon was needing Addis Ababa and Manama, sheep in Linden, sausage in China and somewhere else, bonbons is needed somewhere, but clogs and meatballs I have no demand for. Currently, anywhere in the world. So what I will do is I will sell those here, because why carry stuff you don't need to? And we'll head off to Berlin. But now, as you watch the changing colours of my engine, the caboose does the same thing. I just like the fact it changes colour. It's one of the cutest little things about this wonderful engine. Plane flying overhead. We'll quickly get the added bit of cargo for my depot. But now, having opened up the new area and got this wonderful new train, I'm going to put it on my wonderful new engine, shall I say, and wonderful new caboose. I'm now going to put it on my train. It's very pretty. I don't know what its bonuses are. Well, I don't know if it'll tell me. No. I'm sure it'll affect somewhere in the Middle East or somewhere around there and has probably absolutely no effect in the rest of the world. But I don't tend to care about that type of stuff. I tend to pick on the trains that are pretty. Now, I might as well collect any money I've got outstanding for the jobs I've completed. Especially that I've just spent 3 million. Me fully back up to 10 jobs to be done. Nice to get to daylight so I can see my new engine in daylight, as well as my elven archery car. Probably a good time to clean the train and repair it. As we come into Berlin, which is one of the... I think I've got about 7 stations in Europe, which is still outstanding stuff, and I'm about to go through a few of them. You've seen London. Okay, you've got sausages. I want sausages. This one wants Parkers, which I have a few in my depot, but not very many. The next station I'm going to go to is Copenhagen, which also has a outstanding cargo request, I believe, of candles, which I can find in Europe East, but you don't get many doing a circuit of Europe East. And it wants about 1,000 in total. I forget how many it's got to go. Probably about 800 to 900, I think, because candles are relatively scarce, kind of like Houston in the United States, which wants poutine. Yes, you can do circuits of Canada East, but some circuits you'll end up with 25 poutine, some you may end up with 50. And when Houston wants 1,000 of those, and there's some place in Alaska that wants a few hundred of them, and there's a place in Mexico that wants another 1,000 of them, you have to do a lot of circuits of Canada East to pick up that amount of poutine, and that takes quite a while. So whilst Houston is getting close to having its cargo request fulfilled for poutine, the city in Mexico still has about 900 outstanding, because I can only collect it at a relatively slow rate. Whereas, I don't know, let me think of wheat, for example, I can pick up in large parts of the United States and large parts of Africa. So anything that wants wheat, I have less of a problem collecting the resources for. Okay, I don't want any of the rest of that. I have no candles on my train, but yeah, what's that? 838 candles still required for Copenhagen. And I think Oslo is still one of the other European stations which has cargo requests outstanding, as we'll see in a moment. Well, I say a moment, in a few minutes. We'll just give this train a burst of speed. It wants utility knives. Oh, this should clear a load of jobs off the queue. And get me some of the resources I actually need. So I had a large amount of my jobs outstanding for collecting cargo. So now I've only got 2 jobs active out of a possible 10. I need 8 more jobs. So I'll go get a load of mileage jobs, or whatever turns up, either mileage or cargo from instructions. I didn't used to do the collect cargo when one comes up again. Collect cargo for 10,000 gold, because you require the same amount of cargo as if you were collecting for 20,000 gold. Well, same number of. This requires 35 cargo. I think I collect 12 at a time, and the one that pays 10,000 requires 25 cargo, which requires me to get 3 obstacles out of the way. However, there were so many of those jobs turning up that I just said, what the heck, I'll just do them. Rather than keep refreshing the job board until I found jobs I liked, I just went, oh, what the heck. That wasn't the exact words I used. It was something less polite, but the principle was the same. But it is kind of nice to have a new area to play with. Now I've unlocked that. Oh, 20 tulips. I need tulips. I can drop off 21 knives here. So I still need 102 utility knives for Oslo. But out of the, what was it, 6 or 7 I said in Europe, which are outstanding, that was London, Berlin, Copenhagen, Oslo are 4 of them. Monaco, I think, is another one which requires casino chips. Milan, I think, is another which requires strawberries. And I can't remember what the other one might be, if there is another one. Let me have a quiet mull over. Oh yes, Barcelona. I said a quiet mull over. Couldn't think of it, so I checked a list, which requires a lot of candles, like Copenhagen. So unless I want to sit here and do 50 circuits round Europe East collecting candles, that will get done when it gets done. Plus I've still got to buy or upgrade a load of stations in Europe, as they're not cheap. So on our way to Stockholm, I've got 766,000 in gold, plus whatever's in the caboose. Which I might as well check what's in the caboose whilst we're coming into Stockholm. 81,000. Oh, that could be worse. That gets me up to almost 850,000. And here we are in daylight. It's always nice to see your train in daylight. We'll go through Stockholm, then I'll go to the gumball machine and try picking up a couple of new cars. Knowing my luck, I'll get duplicates of cars I've already seen. However, I may get lucky and get another Apple car. Anything in stock? Oh, there's sausages and tulips, both of which I want. There is no place that wants meatballs. I fulfilled any meatball requests that were active. Unless Southeast Asia West wants water, there's nowhere that needs that. Red bricks I do need for building stations, but I've got enough for now. And there is somewhere that wants bonbons, but I can't remember where, and which means I don't need that bit of water, all those meatballs. So if I pick up bonbons from obstacles, I'll keep them, but otherwise I'm not buying bonbons, because most of the places that wanted them I've already fulfilled the cargo request for, and the one place I think that currently wants them, I can't remember where it is. Not what I meant to do. I meant to do that one. It's like my train wants a clean and a repair, so do that. Okay, so whilst I'm on my way to Helsinki, I'm going to go to this wonderful new area I've opened, this area here, and see what the stations cost. Oh, I might as well actually see what the actual checklist says. Serve 1,000 passengers, spend time to travel 31,000 or so miles. Bio upgrade 30 stations. Gold from cars. You seem to get the gold counted even if you're not in the area. Travel to 17 of the cities and meet 2 market demands. So one of the things I will do, as I just said, this station is cheap, is I will fully buy that station. Mumbai is expensive at 500,000, as is that place. This one isn't. This one's real cheap. That's not too bad. I'll buy the first level of that and the first level of that one, even though it's a bit more expensive than I normally like. And that's a tad expensive, but I started, so I'll finish. Not buying that one. Stop there for now because I want the money for other things. Oh, Bhopal. That was where they had the huge chemical accident a long time ago. And this place. And that was enough upgraded stations to complete the bio upgrade train stations in Southeast Asia West. So that's one of those tasks done. As we're now at Helsinki. Fulfilled its cargo request, whatever its cargo request once was. I'll just take the bits and pieces which I find useful. And where are we? We're just about to come into Russia. I've still got a long way to get through Russia to where it's going, so Norilsk. I have actually fulfilled the cargo request. Oh no, I haven't. I'm close to fulfilling the cargo request for St. Petersburg. I did fill the cargo request for Moscow as well, between this episode and the last one, which was wheat, and I've started the wheat request for this one. But I've done a lot of the cargo requests in Russia, just not all of them. So we'll head in the general direction of St. Petersburg, but that's where I'm going to end this episode. With a bit of luck, I will get enough done that I will be able to record the next episode tomorrow, and I'll get back to a more normal schedule of recording episodes, although Cook Serve Delicious 3 is coming out in the next day or two, I believe, so I will start playing that one once it comes out, possibly tomorrow. I can't remember what the date is. Could be tomorrow or Thursday, it's one of the two. Anyway, okay, I will stop talking now. As always, I hope you enjoyed or found it interesting to see how far I've managed to reach in this game. And hopefully I'll see you down the track for more Tiny Rails in the near future. Have a great day and cheerio!